The Allure of the Lionfish is the next rhyme poem. The lionfish looks colorful and almost has a mane. Here's the lionfish. And pretty much looks like a lion. Unlike the lion with a mane, its mane is not the same. This mane is full of venomous spikes and is there to say its colorful appearance warns other animals to stay away. It is native to the coral reef and its prey comes from near. A snap of the jaw is all that it is likely to hear. This carnivore's mouth is big enough to eat things its own size. Fish are showing up in new places to everyone's surprise. Multiplies quickly and suddenly there are many of them. They can be seen swimming in a nearby aquarium. And here's the lionfish again. Recently on the coast, like in Florida of the United States, there are more than enough lionfish, and they multiply really fast, so they have to go after them so that they don't eat up other things. The dandy dolphins are next, and there's the dandy dolphins. The dandy dolphins are playful mammals of the sea, as playful and smart as sea mammals can ever be. They are quick-moving, have fins and flukes in places. Their types are short-nosed or long-nosed and can win races. They are water mammals that travel in groups or herds near. They give birth to live young after a gestation of a year. They are warm-blooded and breathe oxygen through a blowhole that's round. They have large brains and have found to have clicks and whistle sounds. Eat small fish, squid, and crustaceans for nourishment. Leads the way on the waves, which provides entertainment. And there's the dandy dolphins. And a lot of the times you think of dolphins in pairs. And in movies you see them in front of the ships, like leading the ships. And they're very smart. The candor of the clownfish. Okay, well, there's Nemo. And the clownfish is loved by all, and we know him as a Nemo. This bright orange and white striped fish stays in the ocean low. He stays on the bottom and through symbiosis works with a friendly anemone. He waits for it to eat some other fish until there's nearly none. Then it eats what's left behind and learns to stay away some from poison spikes on the anemone that scratch it every day. Then it builds immunity to the poison, which means that it doesn't bother them and they don't have to stay away. He cleans off the anemone's old dead spikes and the cycle goes on again. The fish does have other colors and he lives only in a saltwater community. They eat zooplankton and feed from what's left over from the anemone. And earlier we saw the anemone and the clownfish or the Nemo fish working together. The next rhyme poem is the king crab and the snow crab. And the king crabs are the big ones and the snow crabs are the little ones. But I call this the crabs of the Bering Sea. And there are snow crabs other places too. But these are the ones I'm talking about in here. The crabs that prefer the Bering Sea like cold. They live in Arctic places and have fishermen that are bold. To lie traps with bait, to catch them, to sell. They are crabs with a lot of legs to swim and run. They are called Alaskan and Opelio, or snow crabs. having some fun. Although there are other kinds, there are these two main kinds found that are grown for sustainability, so enough will be around. So fishermen who go out on sometimes the stormy Bering Sea are bravely there as long as they are allowed to be and able to be. The crabs are then taken to be processed for food, which we can eat when we're in a seafood mood. And there's the king crabs and the snow crabs or apelio crabs. And crabs are grown other places too. There's other kinds. The slaying of the shrimp is the next rhyme poem. And there's a shrimp, and it doesn't look like a shrimp on your plate. The small shrimp are found in the oceans and in lakes. It is the tiniest member of the crustacean family and makes. The shrimp are omnivores and eat plants and even seafood, but are used by others as their prey or their food. Since shrimp are found towards the bottom of the waters they are in, they have to eat anything that sinks down to them. They are invertebrates, but have a hard exoskeleton to protect them, so they get a chance to grow and multiply. They can swim forward and backward during their swimming by. They have no fins to help them in the water that they are in. They only live a short time and only have that time to win. It's hard being on the bottom of the chain of seafood. If shrimp could be afraid, they would be afraid as part of their mood. They don't live a long time because they're eaten by other seafood. So, and caught. And there was the seahorse, the saddleless seahorse. The saddleless seahorse is an unusual sea creature. It is the only male seahorses to give birth known to nature. The male acts like the mother, taking care of them, we know. They are shaped on the top like the head of a horse. They are not able to be ridden by people, of course. They have a snout or mouth that they suck food through. Carnivores that eat constantly to stay alive, too. They have a prehensile tail, which means it will wrap around seafood or other plants, usually front to back. Fluttering fins help it stay erect in rapidly moving water. They live in warm and temperate water, not hotter. And here's the next rhyme poem. And this is probably my favorite one because I got to see this one done in Baltimore at the National Aquarium. And a lot of these pictures are from that I took at the National Aquarium. The stingers of the jellyfish, not far from the top of the world's oceans, it seems to look for strokes or swimming motions. A living blob with many stingers is always awake. Carries its defenses that you can't remove or take. Remarkable creature and hard to tell up from down. People will yell, "Look out, there's a jellyfish around." A sudden signal to quickly swim or move away. If you see one near you, you get as far as from it as you can on any day. Or you may be walking along a wet sandy beach and your feet may touch a jellyfish that your toes can reach. A jellyfish makes itself at home looking for food. It doesn't care if it will put you in a bad mood. It's a serious situation to be stung by a jellyfish. It injects a poison substance into places you won't wish. These sea creatures are carnivores, and in case you are the only one that gets in his territory or his space, the only solution is learn to stay away from their place. You're not supposed to be where they are, so get away from them, because they will sting you. I saw them in real pretty elongated tanks. And this is a sea turtle. It's a sea-bound sea turtle. And he's in the water there. Turtles are different because they give birth on the shore. Females return repeatedly to bury eggs in the sand once and more. These reptiles live in the sea, swimming through the water. They live many years in the water and are seen later. Huge turtles do grow to be thousands of pounds. The female returns for many more birth rounds. When born, they are ready in a few days to live as a group, a magnetic force that seems to work in this loop. The hatchlings move towards the water. Only a few survive. Those hatchlings who do make it do amazing things to get in the deep seas alive. So the deep diving sea turtles have plenty of ocean food to eat. These turtles have a beauty and a long history of existence that's hard to beat. They can really live a long time. And I'm talking, like past 50 years, sometimes 100 years. They grow up to be, where they can be on the beach and have their shell and all that. They're really big. The Oddness of the Octopus is the next rhyme poem. And there's the octopus. And he looks pretty odd. Look at him. The 8 wriggly feet that it has are really its arms. With 8 arms, he could really cause alarms. Yet he has no bone in any part of his makeup. He can squeeze through a tiny hole and not break up. He has 3 hearts, and his blood is not red but blue. It can squirt ink to confuse and numb someone or you. Can change its color from one to another. The octopus is around to make a she-octopus a mother. It has suction cups to cling to the coral in the water it can grab. Although at rest it looks drab. It prefers to motorize itself and run up to 25 miles an hour to get away. The octopus lives only in the water to run another day. And they can move really fast. 25 miles an hour for, a fish in the water is fast. But some are even faster, apparently. And this is the simplicity of the sponge. A sponge is under the sea, so deep you must dive. You find it attached to something for it to stay alive. It grows on the bottom and finds its food there. It is porous and able to live, and you find it where? It's a live animal that has skeletons and tubes. It is sending out and growing tubes to get food. Divers go down and cut it from where it's attached, so we can use them to hold water or detergents. We don't find it everywhere, so where it is we go. People learn how to harvest it and dry it slow. Sponges grow in many colors and are later sold to use to clean or use in water, hot or cold. And sponges have other uses too that you can find out about. And that was a purple sponge. The agile Atlantic puffin, and this is a seabird. This is an Arctic seabird. It looks kind of like a parrot almost. The Atlantic sea puffins live in the cold North Atlantic. An agile Arctic seabird that hunts and eats in the ocean and looks rather frantic. They steer with ruddered webbed feet, go down 200 feet for brief periods. They can carry many, many fish to feed their young and bring the fish to feed the young in myriads. That means a lot. They fly through the sky up to 50 miles an hour, flapping wings. Their beaks go dark and then colorful in summer and spring. They are auks and warble a song that they sing. They can swallow herring and eels as they swim underwater to seek and feed young with the fish that they bring in their beak. They are 12 inches high and have a beak that looks like a parrot. The great black-beaked gull is their predator, for the female not to lay eggs onto the shore is to their merit. And that means the great black-bearded gull will go after the eggs of the Atlantic puffin. So if they don't lay on the shore, the gull won't get them. The sign of the sea dollar. There's a sea dollar. You've probably seen a sea dollar. It has many meanings. It's the sign of the sand dollar. The sand dollar is a special animal with different meanings. They are invertebrates that live on sandy bottoms near the seashore in their leanings. The sand dollar is found near or on shore near sandy bottoms like other sea creatures. When you find them, they are just skeletons on the shore with distinct features. The pattern of holes is where its breathing took place when the animal was alive. The bottom has tiny sea spines on the base to burrow in the sand to survive. They eat by taking food out or extracting the food in the sandy bottom it filter feeds. It moves like other invertebrates, like a starfish leads. The 5-point symmetry is also similar to the starfish, which is its predator for food. It has no brain, so it has no mood. And there's the sand dollar. And some people, find them on the beach and keep them. And by that time, they're gone. You're just seeing a hardened sand dollar or the shell. And this is another fish that looks like a parrotfish. This is the presentation of the parrotfish. And look at that thing. Another colorful fish that resembles something else. The parrotfish colorfully flies through the sea near ocean shelves. This omnivore lives on ocean reefs and eats through the coral reefs with a mouth full of teeth and the shape of a parrot's beak. With teeth inside its throat, that grind to get the algae. It's never seen in a tree. This fish is colorful, and that's not the only thing that changes. It changes from male to female, depending on some not known conditions and ranges. They don't know how this happens exactly, but it has something to do with other things, like light and heat and time and other unknown conditions. There are 80 types and even new renditions. They make a cocoon at night and surround their bodies so other predators can't eat them. They are 1 to 4 feet long and can live about 7 years. And they live in salt water and tropical regions. They are fish that are fun to see in any seasons. They're very, very colorful. So that's the presentation of the parrotfish. The next rhyme poem is the sage sea otter. Now, you may have trouble seeing him, but there he is. He's laying there with another sea otter. The sea otter is a smart little animal who lives in ocean water. It has a cousin who lives in other waters, a river otter. The sea otter is clever, and it does most important activities in the sea. The mother gives birth and teaches the others to be free. These carnivores eat and learn to use rocks as tools. They are laying on their backs and breaking shells as they wish. They do this to get to eat shellfish. They eat other seafood too. These guys never seem blue. They clean their fur with claws and teeth that they use. Their dense fur keeps these carnivores warm on water and ground. They live on rocky Pacific coasts and are some of the most social sea mammals around. And you see the sea otter like in some animal shows and sea parks all over the country and the world. The next rhyme poem is the roaming red lobster. And there's the roaming red lobster. And that's another bottom feeder. The roaming red lobster is a curious crawling omnivore. It has 10 legs to crawl on the bottom of the ocean floor. It's called a bottom feeder because of what it eats, or not exactly what people want if they consume meats. They are not easy to catch or harvest, and you have to find the exact places that they happen to be living with their kind. They come from cold or tropical waters and show up on a rocky shore. They have a shell but no backbone they shed and restore. They are food for people as well as being prey. In tanks in restaurants or in sea parks, you can see them every day. We're in zoos with aquariums. We have a zoo with an aquarium here. And the very last rhyme poem is the pufferfish. And that thing is dangerous. You also can make certain medicines from it. It has effects that will help people. The pufferfish is a poisonous fish, so be very aware. There's no known antidote, so take good care. It's also called a blowfish, a fugu, and other names, but I wouldn't want to play in a pufferfish game. Because it swallows water, it puffs up to twice its size or more when it feels threatened, although it may slow down when running from a predator. It has 4 teeth fused together that looks like a beak, can crunch into hard-shelled sea life swimming in the sea. It's a fish and an omnivore that prefers tropical places. It's not a good idea to get into pufferfish spaces. And you don't want to mess with the pufferfish. You just want to see it in aquariums. You don't want to mess with it. And this concludes Sea Life Rhymes or Learning Times by Beverly Cummins. Now, all my books can be accessed at www.blurb.com and under their names or my name, or Sherry RN, which is CHERRYRN. I have 2 more books, I believe, to read on this series of books that I have been writing for the last 5 years. I enjoy reading these aloud, and I feel that this way, whoever watches them at least gets some of the knowledge that's in them. I looked up the facts very carefully as much as I could. I have MS, and I occasionally struggle through reading these things, but I think it's important to share them, and the purpose of writing them was to share them. So this is another way that I can share them. I will be back later this week to read some more. I'm not sure which book. Thank you.